Hello brothers and sisters of the interwebs, Steel Phoenix here, and with the recent reveal of Major Pavel and the plans of the Red Line, I figured it'd be a good time to finally talk about them in greater detail. The Red Line is one of the larger factions in the Metro and boasts the largest population of any faction with an estimated 15,000 citizens. Though this could be well lower given their capacity for mass conscription and lower training bar before sending into battle, resulting in a high mortality rate, which we'll get into later. They own a considerable number of stations, only surpassed by that of Hansa, though the Red Line, like their Reich rivals, have a policy of violent expansion that could end with them growing larger than Hansa in time. All of these factors make the Red Line one of the most formidable factions in the Metro, though luckily they tend to focus most of their efforts into their perpetual war with the Fourth Reich, though they are also in conflict with the Rangers due to their possession of D6 as of Metro last light. They are headed by the Communist Party of the Moscow Underground and their General Secretary Maxim Moscovin, who, as a side note, ironically bears a resemblance to Adolf Hitler, who enforces strict Marxist-Leninist and Neo-Stalinist ideologies, political repression, and indoctrination as a part of daily life for the line citizens, both as a tool to maintain order and power and to prevent fascist infiltration. The origin of the Red Line's name is rather simple, as they occupy the Metro's actual Red Line, and they are socialists which are almost always associated with the color red. While it is not entirely stated when the Red Line was formed, the reason for its formation is the Sokolnishkaya, which is the primary station of the Red Line, which was built similar to a palace or tomb filled with statues and murals of the Soviet era, which after the collapse of the Central Metro Command attracted communist agitators to it to form the Red Line. All along the Red Line, communist idealists overthrew leaders of their respective stations and established their own councils. Once enough stations had been successfully overthrown, the leaders declared the first interstational with the goal of uniting the entire Metro under their banner and spreading true communism to all stations. Following this union, the Red Line seemed on the verge of taking over the entire Metro due to being the only alliance at the time. However, many in the Metro still opposed their ideals, and the communists prepared for their invasion of other stations. An alliance of stations headed by Hansa, who as an economic hub had clear reason to oppose communism, readied its own forces. Eventually, a conflict later known as the Hansa Red Line War broke out, started by the Communist Alliance. A war that was expected to be short evolved into a bloody stalemate similar to that which would later happen between the Reich and the Red Line, consuming both men and material, which could have improved the lives of the Metro citizens and helped in preserving what civilization remained. But as the war dragged on, mutinies and desertions on both sides combined with a growing civil unrest forced the two factions into a treaty. The station directly below Red Square and all decaying monuments of the old Soviet glory went to the Reds, and Hansa received what would later become part of Polis. Both parties agreed to allow free movement across their territory due to the Red Line now effectively being split in half, and with both parties satisfied, the way was paved for a relationship of economic dependency and watchful, albeit shaky, neutrality. After several conflicts over territory, the Red Line began active trade with Hansa and the electrification of the tunnels in their territory. Though there are famine issues in communist stations from time to time, despite their territory allowing them to produce large amounts of food and arms, these are often used in their constant conflicts with the Reich. This, along with their brutal police state and government, makes life tough for most Red Line citizens. On top of that, they are often overworked, underpaid, and overall terrorized by the government. Officially, the Red Line is neutral to most factions, excluding the Fourth Reich and the Bandits, of course. In the novel, they are allied with a splinter group known as the Revolutionaries that launch guerrilla attacks against the Reich. However, in the game, the Red Line has no solid allies, though prior to the events of Metro Last Light, they have a fragile alliance with Hansa and the Rangers. And no faction video would be complete without discussing their military, which in the case of the Red Line is known as the Red Army, which is believed to be the largest army in the Metro, likely due to a high conscription rate of the Red Line combined with their high population, though as stated before, their combat capacity is lacking. Their lack of training and poor equipment has led to them relying on a tactic similar to their old world counterparts, where they send waves of their soldiers at enemy lines in an attempt to outnumber them and hopefully take out some of the far less populous enemy. Though the Red Line is far from inept in combat, as is likely evident from the fact that they haven't been conquered yet, though they focus on different specialities than the Reich. Aside from their infantry, they also have a skilled sniper team used to weaken enemy ranks and even wipe out entire squads without being detected. The Red Line also employs a number of double agents and spies led by Head of Intelligence General Corbett to infiltrate other factions and deliver important information. As for the equipment of the average infantry soldier of the Red Army, they are often given a bastard and a single magazine, as well as a cloth uniform, hence the suicide tactics to get close to the enemy. Though there are some soldiers, likely squad leaders, that are equipped with actual armor and better weapons, such as the Clash or even the Clash 2012. Though somehow by 2034 the Red Army has made a drastic turnaround with better training and equipment to rival even the Reich. Designated heavy units, as well as considerable number of soldiers with chem suits, where bioweapons have been used by the time of the invasion of D6, they also equip ballistic shields, flamethrowers, and Gatlings. In some instances, they are even backed up with improvised tanks and even an armored train. The only one used by any faction pre-Exodus, of course. And on the note of Exodus, I'm not entirely sure if we'll see them when it comes out. It is a possibility, though unless we see them before leaving the Metro, I have my doubts we'll see them between their constant war with the Reich and their defeat at D6, though like with the Reich, it is possible if they gained a foothold on the surface. But that's it for this video. Like if you liked, subscribe to become part of the Phoenix Brotherhood, and as usual, thank you, have a nice day, and this is Steel Phoenix signing off. Bye!